Well, what is up, guys? My name is Chandler Blanchard, or Pro Killer, and today we are going to do a movie review. Today we are going to review Lucky, Luck, Luckily, Lucky Number Slevin. And yes, guys, this movie. I just watched this movie a few hours ago, and it was really good. Again, I had nothing in mind, so I had a boring night, so I just watched it with an open mind. Plus, before you guys listen to this is going to be a spoil review. It's not going to be free. Well, spoil-free review. But I am going to tell you everything of what happens. Plus, I just try to do this and my camera just shut off on me. Yeah, thanks, phone. Thank you. But let's get into this. The whole plot is mostly when a man is mistaken as a name when people are trying to look for who are true crime bosses in New York who wants Nick Fisher. And that's his fake name when he's mistaken to be him. That's not his real name, and he now needs to get the money what they both want him to get. One of them wants him to get $90,000, and the other wants $33,000. I think I got that number right. So now, the guy needs to go around town or try to do something to save his ass. So let's get into this detail of this movie. We are following this guy named Slevin, like as the title, and he is in town not as Nick Fisher. Nick Fisher, we didn't really know until towards the end because we find out who was Nick Fisher, and it was just a roller coaster. It was so much fun to just watch this movie, and plus to the end, I was so surprised. So we are in the building of an airport, and there is Bruce Willis playing a hitman. What his name is, Mr. Goodcat. Yes, the name is weird, but he plays a hitman, and towards the beginning, he's in a wheelchair talking to a guy at the airport about this thing where he was in somewhat a little bit, where this event happened like in 1984 or 1987, where this couple of these people died. A father brought his son towards to a race of like horses to like bet on some money and stuff, and he goes really big on the money, and he doesn't really know how to pay them back if he loses and stuff. So he's hoping to have this race be good and he wins money. It goes failing and the horse dies, losing the money, and that's when we get to the point when his son is not with him, but his son is in the car because he's not really into that type of stuff. He likes baseball and stuff. So when he goes back to his car's missing and his son's missing. Then there's guys who come towards him and takes him somewhere and beats him to death mostly, and put a plastic bag over his head to kill him. And then the wife is at the house cleaning or putting things away, and someone shoots her with a shotgun. And the final frame what we have is mostly when the shotgun goes off, we see the kid with another guy, and the guy puts a gun to his head far distance and stuff, but we don't know if they all died. So we believe they all died and stuff. Now we go back towards the present day where Slevin, that is the main character who we are going to follow, he's in big trouble now. He needs to get some money to save his ass, and plus he's in a apartment from his friend Nick Fisher. Okay, so at the time, we didn't really know what Nick Fisher was about. Like, we never knew if Mr. Fisher had any connections with, like, any crime bosses. So it seemed like he had, because he had to pay them money. So we mostly follow Slevin for the whole movie, and we we do meet other characters on the way, like as the boss, the right, the Ryby. I think that's how you say the name. And we meet a sheriff who is on Slevin's ass because the cops think he is a big person who's trying to like make some deals with the crime bosses in New York. So, but that's not the case and stuff. But Slevin's again going around places, and what one of the bosses wanted him to do is to kill the other boss's son. So Morgan Freeman plays the boss, and his son was killed by the Ryby, and now the boss wants what he thinks is Nick Nick Fisher to kill the Ryby's son too. So that does go on. But for this whole thing, we thought Slevin was never gonna do it. He actually kills the son. But that's the thing. What I was a little confused about was like one, he was not a violent person, and even though when people hit him, he doesn't fight back. So I was like, okay, so he's like not like a punk, but he's weak and he can't really do can't do really anything. Plus, then with this storyline, we have another story who is mostly at the morgue somewhat. We have a few other people dead by someone, and this person is like a very trained person who like killed like these two guards and then killed someone with a baseball, like literally a baseball. And so we mostly get like these people dying, and then we just see some flashbacks of what happened, but they don't show the face and stuff. So I was like, I'm really enjoying this movie because it has this cool storyline with like a few different people, but towards the end, it does add up to someone being revealed to be someone. Um, so where was I? Yeah, so Slevin is again still trying to do things, and he does go towards the son. So the Ryby's son lives alone, I guess, or has people watching because he's a big person. What people want to kill him. So we see Slevin walk in, and we don't even think he's gonna kill the son, but he puts 2 rounds in the chest of the kid, and Bruce Willis's character, Mr. Goodcat, walks in and finishes the kid with the shot in the head. So here's the thing: what I didn't say this. So it sounded like Mr. Goodcat was against Slevin because he wanted to have Slevin to do his job for him. So if you guys don't know, so the two crime bosses hired this old friend of theirs, Goodcat, to kill both of their sons. Plus, he gets someone else to do his dirty work. So that's when Slevin comes in while the hitman just watches this all go down. So they meet up when Mr. Goodcat says something like what we just questioned, like, what does he want to do to him? He doesn't do anything when he shoots the kid in the head. They just look at each other like they are just partners. So I was like really confused towards that point. Plus then, this is what Slevin does. He gets to the black van, what I guess it's Mr. Goodcat's van, and he gets a body from the beginning of the movie, and he dumps the body at the at the dead kid's body. And towards that point, I figured out, okay, so they are working together. So until like, okay, so now that's somewhat revealed. They are somewhat knowing each other probably, plus towards the idea of the movie. Um, so the kid's dead now, and the body what he dropped, we find out actually the body in the beginning of the movie was Nick Fisher. So they planted his body there while he was dead for the almost the whole movie. Towards the end, we actually get two of the bosses tied up with tape at at the bosses, the Morgan Freeman office place, and they and so the boss and the uh the other guy is like still tied up, and Slevin comes like down the stairs and talks, and this is the part where I freaked out a little bit. So he like talks about like blah blah blah. This is like probably is going to like happen and blah blah. And he gets to the point like when he's talking about the story what we heard from the beginning of the movie about the kid and the mother and the father dying. We see some flashbacks, and here's the coolest thing: they match up to a lot of people. The boss was involved with that event that day because we see a golden ring on his finger, and that was the flashback. The rabbi actually holds his gun like this, so then that's another flashback, and he is actually the kid in the flashback. So that just gives us one thing: the kid never died. And the person who had the kid at that time was Mr. Goodcat. So he took him in mostly, and mostly as like a son. So that was the coolest part is we reveal mostly the guy who's Slevin is not who he says he is. How he actually got his name is by the horse who died. That was the horse's name, Slevin, so he took the name when he grew up, and he did the same thing as Mr. Goodcat, and he killed people. So now for this whole time, the cops were right, and they wanted to get him back or arrest him for like the deaths he has done. And plus, towards that was we actually see towards the end the sheriff is in his car, and he is mostly just like talking to this guy where we find out everything about Slevin and stuff, and the incident about the events around town who's dying and stuff. So we hear him talking and stuff, and we see Slevin, or his real name, I don't know, I think it was like Matt, and he comes out from the back of the car, inside the car, and he is like just being silent, just like waiting, and then he just puts the gun towards the sheriff's head or the cop's head and says, "Bad dog." We see a flashback when the event with the mother, and the sheriff was the person who killed the mother. So I actually really like the concept and the connections with the movie. Like they had the present day towards the past, and they just went back and forth. And I liked what they did because it was something new, what no one would do or never has done. So hope you guys enjoy. I always like, subscribe, and always if you want to again subscribe, go ahead. Plus now I have talked for a while, and I'm pretty sure you want to get off. So hope you guys enjoy, and always have a nice day.